What is going on, everybody? Special edition Texans Talking Toros tonight on a lovely, muggy, wonderful San Antonio night here, obviously in San Antonio. But this is a special episode for a very special guest. We want to make sure that we brought him in and gave him a chance to kind of introduce himself to you guys and for you to get to know him and see what he's all about. This is a very high energy person who has a ton of football experience, whether it's from, high school and college, his time in the pros, his time coaching, and then even kind of retiring his coaching career to come back and play. So, without further ado, I want to introduce you to one of the most exciting and energetic people that I've met, um, Mr. Will Arndt. How are you, sir?
I'm doing great. Thank you for being here. We got very small shoes to fill with BD, so I should slide in and the show should get an instant upgrade. So, yeah, looking forward
Well,
to being here and talking some ball.
funny that you mentioned that. So I do need to bring in one of my counterparts that you are going to want to know because while you guys are resting on offense, you'll be hearing me and this gentleman right below me,
Hey,
right?
what's up, Tim?
Hey,
This is
what's up,
this is
guys?
Tim English, aka Crazy Tim, aka my brother from another mother. He is literally the only person that I've met in our time being fans of spring and summer football that has been able to match my volume level.
Yeah,
So,
definitely
and
decibel raisers. We can do that.
he comes all the way to us from the Dallas Fort Worth Metroplex because obviously there's nothing good up there anymore. And so he came down here to be with the best team in the world, the San Antonio Bulls,
Yeah.
right?
I can't disagree there. It's nothing but
There you
traffic and
go.
trouble.
So, Will, I want to take a moment to give you an opportunity to just kind of introduce yourself to the fans. Let them know who you are, your playing experience. Obviously, you do have a bunch of experience, whether it be, playing or coaching. And you know what? I'm going to go ahead and hide that logo just because I don't want it to block you. Um, but just talk to us about, your experience and kind of where you started and how you wound up here.
Yeah. Well, I'm gonna go probably back to the beginning if you feel like that's appropriate, Jay.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, for anyone out there that played football as a youngin, obviously I'm a professional, but I'm a human just like you, and I hope this maybe gives you a little bit of connection and understanding about my journey with football. But just like you, I was a kid that loved football and you know reading Sports Illustrated magazines and playing the old Madden games and just wanting to be that when I grew up. And that never went away for me. That was always something I held on to, and that vision kept me going through all the ups and the downs and whatnot. That was kind of the starting point for me. And I was not a superstar off the jump. People might see me, and I'm 6'4.5" and 215 pounds, and I'm in pretty good shape, and I look like a quarterback. But I was a smaller kid, and I got to be good because of the things that the sport had given me about working hard and showing up early and staying late, just like anyone else that's a regular person. And I wasn't special or that great off the jump. It was just something that I spent a lot of time working at over the years. And I'm a firm believer in whatever it is that you do. You could be a master at whatever it is that you know you chose to wrap your head around or something you're passionate about. So that's just always been kind of my belief is that you can do and be anything that you want to set your mind and your time to. And just so happens that I ended up being 6'4" and 215, and that works out pretty good for being a quarterback, and I move pretty good. So here we are, 32 years old, and getting ready for really my ninth year of professional football in totality. But let's go back to my time in high school. I grew up in Sandy Hook, Connecticut, and that's where I'm from. I spent most of my life in the Northeast, and I just moved to Texas last year. I'm a resident of Austin, Texas, for any of you Texans out there. And man, I wish I came out here a long time ago, but we'll get there later. So, anywho, so in high school, when I was a freshman, I had a bad injury where I broke my back, and I was told I should never play sports again. Was in a wheelchair to crutches to, well, like, yeah, total paralysis in my right leg. I remember sitting there looking at my right leg and just, as a 14-year-old kid, I just, wanted to be normal, but like not getting any muscle body connection there. And eventually, the symptoms subsided and I was able to get in crutches. And eventually I was able to kind of limp around high school as a 15, 16-year-old. But that was a 2-year process to get back to playing sports. And I never missed a football practice along the way. I think that's really where I developed a lot of the things that have been able to propel me through the ups and downs of my football journey. And hopefully, just as I look at it, is just more of an illustration of the fact of how much I love the sport and how much I've dedicated to it. But yeah, so that's kind of where I come from. And then by the time I was finally able to get back for my senior year, I was not a multi-year starter. I got my chance to play my senior year, and was off to a pretty good start. Was starting to get recruited by some smaller schools in the area, and I was a little bit of a late bloomer. I score a touchdown, and the guy tackles me late. We fall on my right shoulder, bang, broken collarbone, and that was pretty much it for my football career. Because who wants to recruit a kid at that point that had a broken back, doesn't have any tape, and then breaks his throwing arm his senior year? So that led me to walking on and playing football at a Division III school that was local. I come from a good family, but I don't come from an incredibly wealthy family. So I had to kind of go to where it was local so I could, afford to go to school. And they had a football program that I wasn't recruited to, but I wanted to try to walk on to because I really felt like that I could do this. And so this is Western Connecticut State University, a school that I have a lot of fond memories at, and I have nothing but good things to say. It was the place that gave me a shot and ultimately gave me a home and some great memories. So Western Connecticut, for those of you that don't know it, small school in the Northeast, Danbury, Connecticut. And I walk on there and they were horrible. So we were 0-10 my freshman year. But before that, they had lost 17 games in a row. Or 18, I'm sorry. So in totality, we had 28 games in a row that we had lost as a program before we finally broke the curse my sophomore year. And that was a lot to get over. It was very taxing. But I remember I played pretty early on my freshman year. And I didn't start at first. I was in the mix as a guy freshman that they kind of liked, but wasn't like I was Trevor Lawrence walking in the door. And, funny enough, I actually started a game at receiver, third or fourth game of the year. And I was having a great game. I'd never really done it before, but I just kind of knew football and I knew the offense. And the coach grabs me by the shirt and he goes, "This is what you were meant to do." And I'm like, "Oh, okay, I'm just, happy to be here." And so I thought I was going to be playing receiver and just being like, Ryan Tannehill, for any of you Aggie fans out there. So yeah, and later that game, as God's got a good sense of humor, that quarterback broke his ankle and I never went back, and I played the rest of my tenure at quarterback for the Colonials and now Wolves, but that's a story again for another time during all that COVID time when we had too much time to think about stuff. But yeah, so I went on there. I set a bunch of records. In 2 years, we went from 0-10 to 8-2, and we won a bowl game. And the school has not had a losing record since, and I take a lot of pride in that from my time there to be a part of turning that around. So I got a lot of great records there, but honestly, the stuff as a program I'm most proud of. And then so as a Division III guy, I got a chance to get evaluated for pro teams, and that's a hard shell to break at the time because back then only pro football leagues, because the arena football league was down. That wasn't like going on. Everyone knows over the years the arena ball had its heyday in the early 2000s, and it would come and go, and So it wasn't out when I came out and just wanted to get a shot in pro ball. And there was the NFL and the CFL, and that was it. There was no UFL, there was no USFL, there was no Continental Football League. It would have been great if there was. So it was really hard to get an opportunity to play ball. And so I went to every tryout I could. And, I drove all over the country and did everything that I could to turn over the stone, because I knew as a Division III guy, I had one crack at this thing. Because if you don't, if you don't go somewhere after a year being a Division III football player, like, you're done. Like, unless you're a Power 4 guy, you're not going to get a chance to reprove yourself. And unfortunately, that's just the way the landscape and the politics of professional football works. So I drove all over. I went all over, and I knew when I would go to these workouts and I would compete against guys that had played at now Power 4 schools and big programs, I'm like, in my head, I'm like, man, I'm kicking this dude's ass. Like, I'm better than this guy is. And, I had worked at it for so long. I knew the numbers I needed to test for, and I knew I could bring some measurables to the table, and I would go to these workouts and I would, excuse my French, I would fucking kill it. And I was always knocking on the door. I got a lot of interest from teams. Teams would come up to you. You always kind of, if you get it, like after workouts, like coaches will come up to you. If they don't ask for your information or want to talk to you, they're probably not all that interested. And I would get a lot of feedback, but I just could never crack in with a team. But I knew I only needed one. So I signed a contract before the draft that year after a tryout with the Calgary Stampeders. This is in 2016. For those of you, for reference for time, and I signed a contract, and this is like, oh man, like I got a contract for $80,000 to play in the Canadian Football League. Like, I'm rich. I'm a Division III player with no scholarship, and I'm going to get paid to play football. And I didn't really know all that much at the time, but we go to minicamp, and me and one other quarterback, his name is Nick Arbuckle. He's actually still playing in the CFL. He and I went to minicamp, and they let both of us go. And I guess that was just pretty standard. Like, it's one, like, congratulations, you signed a pro contract, but like, hey, they already have a roster full of guys. They kind of wanted to just see you. And then it's like, hey, if you do good, maybe they'll bring you up into training camp, or, if a guy gets hurt, this will be the first person you call. And I was like, oh shit, man. Like, I did not know that's how that worked. And so I'm sitting there like, all right, well, I got to play this year, but there's no other leagues to really play in. And so I was lucky enough to have a teammate that was playing in this very obscure, basically semi-pro team in Fort McMurray, Alberta. For those of you that don't know, that is in Canada, in the province of Alberta. Any of you hockey fans that know where Edmonton is knows that's like the Great North. Fort McMurray is a 5-hour drive north of Edmonton. So this was a place that was very far for a kid that was from Connecticut. And they were playing like semi-pro, basically football, but they were playing Canadian-style rules. And so I was like, you know what? Maybe this is a good opportunity. I can go show these scouts that I can play this style of football. And those of you that don't know CFL-style ball, it's a little bit different, and then you'll get a chance to see it with the continental shift with the Continental Football League. So this is all coming full circle. I'll tie it up. And I go up there, and I kid you not, I remember working out at Edge Fitness Clubs in Danbury. It was this chain gym, and I remember seeing on the news, like a CNN, it was like this burning place, and it was Fort McMurray, Alberta. They had these crazy wildfires that literally burned down the entire city. And so, but the team had hung on. They're like, hey, like, this will be a rallying cause for the community. Like, we have to play. We can't fold this year because, like, the community needs something good to hang their hat on. And so I have a teammate that's up there. So, like, that's the only reason I trust this. And, like, I know that if I can go play the style of football, like, I'll have a chance to do it. So the team, the Fort McMurray Monarchs, actually, ironically, I have a shirt right here. It's really funny. I was not planning that. The Fort McMurray Monarchs.
Nice.
And they welcomed me in. They had a ton of faith in me, and they believed in me, and they actually kicked the quarterback that they recruited out. They sent him home when they were undefeated, and they were 2-0 and starting their year, and they brought me in. And I had to fly into Edmonton, Alberta, 5 hours, and because the airport was burned down in Fort McMurray. and they had to drive me up 5 hours to get to Fort McMurray, and ultimately went there, ran the table, won a national championship. If you just hold 1 second, I think I got championship ring right there, national. And
Nice.
we went up there, ran the table, and it's a really cool memory that I cherish. And it ultimately did lead to me getting signed into the CFL, and went on basically to play about 5 years up there, and then I coached for 2 years after that, which is another story that I probably won't get into, just because it'd take a long time, and I want to stick to the football part of things. Yeah, so in 2021, things got weird. COVID, 14-day quarantines up in Canada, 2-person quarterback rooms in the CFL, no preseason games. I got released. And then, in order to try to stay over the border, I guess I am going into it. In order to try to stay over the border, I said that I would take an offensive assistant position with the Edmonton Elks, so that if one of their quarterbacks went down, this was my former offensive coordinator, was then the head coach in Edmonton. He was like, hey, if something happens, something weird happens, guy gets COVID, or somebody gets hurt, they can slide me in, because they had some really challenging rules. Canada's Canada. They had 2-week quarantine just so you can get up there. So it wasn't exactly easy to bring guys in. So I was like, hey, if I can just be around the goal, maybe I'll have a chance to get back into the league. And so I ended up getting cut from the BC Lions in 2021. I got beat out for a job, a very competitive spot, by a kid named Nathan Rourke. And anybody that knows anything about pro football, he actually ended up becoming a stud of a player. He was the MVP of the CFL last year. He actually went to the NFL and had a couple of stints with NFL teams and stuck down there for a couple of years. And so I got beat out by a player that ended up being pretty damn good, that they didn't think was good at the time, as a rookie. But all that to say, that's kind of how I got into coaching, was really as a act of faith. Was I was trying to play, and then I did such a good job at it that they moved me up and promoted me, and I didn't have an opportunity to go back and play. And so that's just kind of how that happened. And so when I got hired as a quarterbacks coach in Ottawa in 2022, and then our offensive coordinator got unfortunately fired mid-year that year. And so I got promoted to calling plays and basically being the coordinator. And so, fun fact, youngest play caller in the history of professional football to call and win a football game at 29 years old. So it was a very promising career, but I decided to step away from it because I really just, it bothered me, and I felt like I had more football in the tank. And so, so a couple more stops here and there. And this is really like my first good, planned out, clean crack to get back to playing football. Last year, the San Antonio Caballeros, for those of you that are familiar with the name, did not end up getting off the ground. But Toros, everything I've seen, they're doing things right. We got everything really well set up for this year, and I'm super excited to be back playing ball. And kind of the lens that I look at this at, of what makes me a dangerous player, but also grateful, is like I had a chance to die, in proverbially speaking, in football, and now I have a chance to kind of come back to life and do it again. And unfortunately, you can't just tell somebody that. They got to go through it in order to understand it. And so that's kind of the scope of what's led me here today. It took the longer path travel.
What was that drive that wanted to bring you back to playing from coaching?
Well, the thing that really would bother me was I'd be at practice, and you got to
like this dude's ass.
Yeah. But yeah, I don't want to say that, but kind of. And then just like being able to throw a ball again, you're like, fuck, man, I could still do this. And especially now, I've had a chance to see behind the curtain. Like, I know how the sausage is made. I'm privy to the conversations. I know, as a player, like, you're chasing ghosts. Like, you kind of know how it works, but you don't know like what goes on behind these closed doors with evaluators and talent evaluation and when you're making cuts and how to make a roster, and what are the things that the coaches are actually saying and valuing, because there is that player coach dynamic. And I had a chance to see behind the curtain, and I felt like, all right, man, I really understand it now, and I still have my ability. I was 29 at the time, and I'm like, I have to stick to my guns and go do this, because I know if I don't, when I'm an old man later on, I will be kicking myself and always wondering what if.
Yeah, I mean,
Yep.
so what would your message be for those
So,
guys? Because I mean, you talked about your journey and how in 2016 there weren't all these extra leagues. So that guy who's coming out of college right now, he's graduating this year. He's not going to make the draft. He thought like that was his hopes and dreams. What's the message for that guy to keep going, to keep fighting, to either get into the UFL or the COFL or even, arena football?
Yep. Yeah. Well, the first thing I would say is, man, like, well, sure, it's competitive, but that's anything in life. But there's never been a better time to be an aspiring pro football player. There's lots of opportunities, and you could go to a small school and you could get seen because you get a chance to. Hey, you have great production. First off, people want to see you playing football. So if you're chasing, clout and you're like, I gotta I can only go to a Division I school because social media will think I'm cool. Go play football wherever you can get on the field and where you're valued and where you're wanted. And then there's now more opportunities for you to be seen. If you have great production at a Western Connecticut, now you'll get a shot at playing in a arena football league or a continental football league where you're a damn good player and you deserve a shot. And you have a chance to then level the playing field. Well, now everyone here is professionals. I can't hold the D3 card against you anymore. And then go show that you really have it. And so that's what this is great for. It's an equalizer. This is professional football. We have a lot of really good talent. And then there's some young guys on this team that deserve to be playing potentially at higher levels, and they'll get a chance to prove it. Whereas, a lot of guys would go home when I was in 2016 and would say, man, I just never got my shot. Or, man, if they would have just given me a shot, well, now put up or shut up. You get a chance to go do it when people in the past didn't, and there's more opportunities for you as well. So I think it's great.
okay. So, uh, couple of questions that I'm going to ask. But let me start with the first one that a lot of the fans have been kind of asking down here. Why specifically the Toros? You had opportunities in the CFL, Albany Firebirds, if my information is correct.
Yep.
You could get another gig at, one of these different leagues that's, maybe been around a little bit longer. What was it about the COFL that drew you in, and specifically with the San Antonio Toros instead of, like, let's say, the Syndicate or something like that? Bunch of good guys for the second or third place team in Texas. Of course, we're going to be first, though. So, but what about this organization? What about this team specifically called you to be here?
Yeah, that's a great question. So the first thing I'll say to make it clean and concise is people matter. And Coach Bedwell was with me last year. He believed in me. He was a guy that got me out of a different team, Alabama Beavers at the time, just kind of a mess. And he was a guy that believed in me from the jump, and that matters to me. He was organized, and even when he was the offensive coordinator last year, like, he was always clear in his communication and what we were going to be doing and building. And then so that matters to me. I very well could have, especially now seeing the landscape this year, I could have went and tried out for a UFL team, and I'm damn good enough to go play with those guys too. But I didn't want to upend what I had kind of been, putting together for a long time here. I don't have any problem saying I got CFL coaching offers this year. I had opportunities to go be a starter for arena teams, but I chose to be here. One, because people matter, and two, it's, now that I live in Texas, it's really special to be able to share it with people. If I lived in, Kansas and I wasn't able to, bring 50 of my people to a game and be able to share that, or be able to, drive home on a weekend and go see my dog or take a picture of my dog after a game or have my folks there, that stuff matters to me. And I know it will when this is all said and done. So people matter, and places matter. And I wanted to make good on my word of what we've been kind of building now for 2 years.
Excellent. So now for some personal questions. Okay. So you're living in Austin, but you've obviously spent some time running around in the city up there, I'm assuming. You've spent some time down here in San Antonio. Who has the better breakfast tacos, and what makes San Antonio so much better than Austin?
Well, I can tell you this, Jay. I have not spent enough time in San Antonio. I have not had a breakfast taco there. I, I, I bet you they're better. I love anything Tex-Mex, Mexican food. So I'm in the right spot. Um,
Oh yeah.
and yeah, I'm looking forward to all the culinary experiences that are coming. I know San Antonio's got a lot of great things to offer, but that's one of the things I'm also excited about this year. Is I've been to San Antonio a few times, but it's always been in and out. I haven't really had a chance to walk around too much, and that's why every time we have a chance to have an event in the community, I'm always like, hey man, I'm there. I'm not getting paid to do that. I'm not. There's nothing incentivizing me to be there, but I want to meet the people of San Antonio. I want to meet the people that are supporting us, and also get a chance to get out there and see what's out there in San Antonio.
I
Yeah.
mean, you can look at
So
me and Jay, and you can tell the culinary is not lacking down here. You
Eating
know, that's
good.
one. That's one thing we got.
Boys are eating good.
yep,
I need a little more cushion for myself because I'm gonna be getting tackled by 300-pound guys, so a little extra bounce off the turf wouldn't hurt.
it would not hurt at all. Trust me. But I am trying to go the other way. I'm trying to get the guns back.
See?
It's taken a while. You get to a certain age, and progress tends to slow down when you're trying to work out. So don't let yourself get to us, and you won't have to worry about trying to take it off when you get to our age. Um,
Now
but
you say our age. I'm
so
only a year older than him.
Yeah, right.
So
you're older than me?
no,
I thought
then
you were younger
Will.
than I. Oh,
He
then
said he's
Will.
30.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
I was gonna say Tim looks like a young guy. I was like, I think
Slightly
he just aged it.
younger.
You guys are both puppies. Come talk to me. Like, Will, I was graduating when you were born. So that if that lets you know, yeah,
Wow.
I get a little grumpy sometimes. But let's talk about energy, right? Because we're talking about, Jay being grumpy sometimes. Obviously, you are a high energy guy. You're a quarterback for a reason, right? Uh, but talk to us, to the fans, about how you kind of harness that energy to lead a team, especially when you're like in a high pressure situation where, you know, last 2 minutes of the game, game's on the line, you've got to score this touchdown. How do you take your energy and harness it to achieve victory
Rally the
rather than
troops.
just exploding?
Yeah. Another fantastic question. So, um, when the biggest job of a quarterback is not to know what to do. In a Tampa 2, we're gonna high low the mic and it's or like, hey, in this call, if it's too high, it's not that stuff. When your teammates or your fan base or your coaches look at you as a quarterback, you want to instill belief that you can get it done. And
Hmm.
so that goes by how you carry yourself and the things that you're doing day in and the day out. And then another thing I learned as a rookie in the CFL was we had the saying in the quarterback room, like you got to be the same guy every day, whether things are in the shitter or things are great. That you come into work and they know exactly what to expect from you, and you're not riding a roller coaster, you're not down in the dumps. And so you got to be consistent. Now, moments are huge, obviously, and so um,
Right.
that laser focus and a little bit of an edge. Sometimes at quarterback, you got to be a little bit of an asshole. Excuse my French, but guys need to feel that when they look at you. Like there's an edge there, but there's a good intent that someone needs to put their foot down, and we're going to get this shit done. But I'm also prepared. I know what I'm doing. And even when chaos strikes, I'm still the same guy, but you can tell that I haven't flinched. And so you want to be able to feel those things when you look at a guy. And so all of that goes back to authenticity. You can't fake this shit, especially in professional football. You get around guys who've been playing ball enough and they're good enough football players. Like they'll look at you right. They'll just see right through it. And
Yeah.
so you got to live it, and it can't be phony because no matter what your leadership style is, because there's not one way to do it, you got to be consistent and it's got to be real. So um, I hope that makes sense.
Oh, it 100% does. I kind of like to sum it up as saying a field general like that walks around with a certain level of cocky humbleness, if that makes sense.
Yep.
You know what you want to do, you know what you're going to do, but you're humble enough to realize that you have to inspire that leadership quality. Like the others need to see that and they need to trust your vision inherently without questioning it. so they can focus on doing their job because they know you're back here doing yours and you're going to lead the team to victory.
Yep.
Uh, Heavy is the head that wears the crown, right?
Mhm.
Being a quarterback, I can't imagine that it's it, it looks like it's all fun and glory, right, on paper, but there's obviously got to be some really tough times. And so, why don't you talk to us about a situation that you've been in where it's been a high pressure situation like that, where everything is riding on your shoulders and you've got to figure out how to get the team across the finish line. What did you do to kind of help calm your nerves to then calm the team's nerves? And then ultimately, like, think of like biggest game you've been at, okay? What did you do to be able to handle all of that to then get the team to be able to handle all of that? And then what was ultimately the outcome?
Yeah.
Good
Well,
or bad? Like if everything imploded on you, we talk about that too.
totally. No, I mean, listen, as we all know, you learn a lot more from your failures and your shortcomings, and the same is true for me. I didn't have it all figured out. That's for damn sure. Um, but I had a chance my senior year in college. We were like historically like explosive on offense and really good. We threw for over 300 yards a game, and we ran for over 200 yards a game. So 550 yards offense. My senior year, I had 37 total touchdowns and 5 interceptions. We had a running back that averaged over 200 yards a game. Um, Actually, no, I'm sorry. As an offense, we averaged over 200 yards a game. But my point is, you'd be like, oh man, you guys must have been freaking awesome. We were 5-5. And so I had to play in a lot of close games and also had to play in a lot of games where it was back and forth. And I had to come back a couple of times where, hey, we're down 6 and we got to go tie it or go win the game. And so to have that first one and to get it off your back, I think is ginormous. You got to know, you got to go do it. Like you could think you're a badass all you want, but you got to go do it. And once you kind of done it, it takes the weight off you a little bit when you get into that situation. But damn it, it's what it's one of those few things in life you can't simulate or manufacture it. Where just the weight of the situation and the expectation of like I got to go. It's a privilege to be in that situation. It's very cool. It's palpable. You can feel it. It's real. But damn it, like this is what I'm talking about. Like having a chance to have died and then come back to this is the part that I think it takes the edge off for me because listen, I had it taken away from me, so it's not as it's not as heavy for me anymore because like listen, this I'm playing with the house money here, and I'm going to go for it because I know that at least I'll be at peace with that if I go down swinging and I don't do things like I flinch or I overthink it. I'm going to go down swing. I'm going to throw the shit out of the ball in this spot. And so those are the thoughts that I kind of have when I'm ultimately going to get a chance. We're going to have to go do that this year. Like, it's going to happen. I don't know if it'll be the last game of the year, first. I don't know, but it's going to happen, and we're going to have to prove that as a
Has
team.
there ever have
Quarterback.
there ever been those moments where you feel like the offense is vibing or it's working this way and this is the way that it needs to be done, but the play caller is calling the complete opposite plays?
Yep. And so that will take time. And so as much as we can expedite that as possible because it's a quick season. And so I encourage you guys to get out and come catch a game because we only got four home games and it's going to go quick. But it's going to be special. And so I'm working on setting something up next weekend, getting all the players together and, just you got to know each other. There has to be continuity. You can't be like unsure of the guy next to you going in because we only have a week of training camp and then we're playing a preseason game and we're on the field. And I'd be sure shit if I want to look bad or lose to that slappy team coming into town to play us. So that's why I'm trying to get ahead of it, and because you can't speed this stuff up, you can't fake it. So it takes time, and we're already on it.
So you kind of led us into my next question that I was going to ask. It sounds like you know of several of the players, but maybe you don't quite know them. And have you at least done your research on them and kind of try to get a feel for their playing style so you know kind of what to expect when they're out on the field there? or are you waiting more for that to kind of develop from the conversations that you're going to be having with these guys as you get to know them?
Totally. Yeah. I mean, I've had a chance to watch some of the great players we've signed. We have some really good talent to work with. But like ultimately, the hard part
Mm,
about this is like, and especially guys like, and I don't mean this as an indictment. Like, I've been around a lot of football. I've been in
mhm.
more systems. I've played more styles of football than any other guy on the team. It doesn't make me better. It's just a fact of what it is. And so a lot of guys come in from great programs or previous places, and they're like, and it made sense, right? And this is how we did it. This is what we call it. And you have to have the ego to like put that off to the side because now this is what we do, and we have to talk the same language. You can't be calling it this when I'm calling it that. So that's going to be huge coming in because, like, hey, yeah, we got guys from TCU, that great program, great coaching, very organized, high level football. Hey, I played in the NFL last year. We called it this. That's great, but we have to put all that stuff aside and be on the same page in this system if we're going to have a chance to be the best team in this league.
So I mean,
Well,
And
you
so,
don't
and
have
so
a
to answer the question, I know like of some of the guys, but I gotta be around them. I gotta kind of see what kind of personality they have. Are they the type of guy that I can kind of poke and lean into? Like he looks fast on tape, or like maybe he did like, and I got to be able to judge all those little intricate things that you can't put your finger on. And so that's one of the reasons that I'm just working on getting together with guys and trying to connect as much as I can, because I know, at least for me, relationships matter. And so it will take time.
Yeah, see, that's where I was going with it. Was like y'all have a pretty good receiver room right now. Like your core,
Yeah.
you have a good receiver core there with the Toros, and like just building those relationships. Have you got a chance to connect with any of those guys outside yet? Maybe I can meet up at the park, get some routes going. Just build that personal relationship, like you said, before the season ever starts.
Yep, totally. So we are working on something for next weekend. That'll be the first like real opportunity for us to get together. Met a couple of guys at some community events, but we gotta get at, whether it's putting back a couple beers or throwing some weights around together or getting on the field and talking ball. That's the stuff that we kind of need to really mesh. And good football's hard, man. You can't
And
just
me,
freaking you can't just roll it out there and go. Even if you're good, like it takes organization and synchronization and all that good stuff to really get it down. But yeah, I know I've connected with guys, virtually and social media and stuff, but not enough of where we need to go.
if
Yeah,
you need some cornerbacks who run 5.8s to get into coverage, me and Jay got you. You
That'll boost our confidence for
know.
sure.
no, I'm short and stout. I'm good for a running back. I can do line for one hit. I can do
Hmm.
running back for one hit, and then I'm good. I'm done after that, man. 50 years old. I I, I got the fire.
Yeah.
I'll always have the fire. But multiple broken bones and surgeries to put all that back together. The body just ain't what it used to be, man. It ain't
He
gonna
doesn't
handle
want
it.
to get mossed.
Yeah. Right.
No. But I'll take a hit if I need to. If you guys need somebody
I
for one
see it.
special play, I'll lay the wood to somebody. I'm
Hmm.
going to be the one getting carried
It's
off, but
like
still, I'll try, man. As long
I'd
as
it's
hand
I'm
the
like
not
ball
the
off to you
right,
on 3rd and 1 for sure.
the
there you
longest
go.
yard when the old man coach comes in for that last play. Jay's that man. He's got you.
Nice. Man.
That'd be me. Burt Reynolds, baby. Let's go. Um, okay. So going back to the relationship, we've talked about that. It is extremely, extremely important that you have that. If you look at some of the historical or historically famous, I should say, quarterback receiver combinations, every person in that situation knew what the other one was going to do. Like you didn't have to worry about it. Guys like Aaron Rodgers, they had, uh, God, what the hell is his name?
Well, Greg Jennings, Donald Driver, Devontae Adams.
Devontae. He had Devontae. Aaron Rodgers had Donald Driver. He also had Jordy Nelson.
Hmm.
And
Yeah, Jordy. Yep, nice.
I have, right? I'm actually a shareholder. So that's my one claim to fame. I have
Mhm.
one share, and that's it. So it means absolutely nothing.
A full
But
share?
that's cool. Anyway, um, Troy Aikman and
Michael Irvin.
Michael Irvin, right? Uh, the list goes on and on and on.
Tom Brady and Gronk.
Always been that special connection, right? And so I agree with your plan. I really think you do need to go and talk to these guys and get going, especially with Cam Eccles Looper, incredible receiver. I maybe it's just me, but I would think he definitely is coming into this season with something to prove because of certain situations that maybe happened in other parts of his career. He's going to want to come out here and show that he is as good as he says he is. But that's all going to come back to having that connection with you, right? And so it's going to be important for both of you guys to make sure that you take that time to connect and really get to know each other. And so that way, when, he's running a post route or something, he's going to be exactly where he needs to be, right? Um, Not necessarily related to routes, but kind of. This is something that I have really been trying to get to the bottom of. You have experience, in the Canadian Football League, and you understand the rules and all of that and everything. You played there for a while. You kind of have a good feel for it. Obviously, you must be excited for this opportunity to have the continental shift to where you get to play to something that kind of gives you an advantage. But let me ask you this. Do you think a quarterback such as yourself that has experience playing with the Canadian rules would have a better advantage over a quarterback that maybe comes from the Arena League, where maybe they're not exactly used to the rules, but they're used to the speed of the game? Who do you think would have the better advantage there?
Yeah, I mean CFL, just because like concepts and shapes of things like that matters. And then like if you're a receiver like Cam that played in the CFL, like just understanding like the space and like how to use your high motion and all that stuff matters because you know the CFL game is really unique. You get multiple high guys running in motion, and there's all that space. Arena and the IFL gives you a little touch of it, but it's condensed and it's tight. So I think it's a real advantage. And I know that was part of their recruiting process here on the Toros. Is because that fourth quarter was huge, man. You could be down 20 points, but if you have a damn good CFL process, you can get all of it back as the style of play. So, and you can't, if you have a bad process, you can't be hanging on for dear life at every fourth quarter, even if you got a good, US NFL style, rules for 3 quarters. You can't be hanging on for dear life. And so hopefully that's where we'll be able to add some value and, bring a little bit of continuity of kind of how to manage that style of football. And it's fun. I'm excited for the fans to see it. It's a really good product.
We're fully expecting you to ball out in the fourth quarter.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. As you should.
I've said it multiple times on this show. I love watching this game and how it is metamorphosizing into something else. And I love innovation in this game because football during, the 80s and 90s, kind of going into the 2000s, you knew what was going to happen. It was pretty, I don't want to say predictable, but it started getting kind of bland.
Run, pass.
Positions started evolving, right? And you started getting like you used to have fullback and a halfback. Well, now you don't have that anymore, right? Tight ends were not really much of receivers, and then they started becoming receivers, and then now they're kind of back to a hybrid blocking receiver, right? Uh, your running back is a hybrid position because now they're receivers too, right? And then you've got quarterbacks such as yourself, that can scramble.
Yep.
And so I love the idea of bringing something in that's going to continue to revolutionize the game. And I really think, throwing in that splash of flavor, from our northern neighbors is going to turn this game, you know, just upside down. Like, don't get me wrong. I love the idea that the other football league threw in, and there's a reason why I'm not saying their name. Okay, and I'll tell you off screen. But I love the idea of, giving a 4 point field goal try for, a 60-yard field goal, because that's not easy, right? Even though you're seeing professional kickers start hitting those more and more regularly, you still incentivize it with that extra point. So, I
Hmm.
like that. Um, but that only helps one person, right? It only helps one situation. This whole continental football or the continental shift thing is going to help everybody, right? It's going to give opportunities for much faster play, bigger scores potentially, but also bigger defensive plays. If the defense reads it right and they're guys that stay healthy and active, I guess, if you will, I guess more uh, condition is the word I'm looking for, that they can keep up with the pace of that game, they could make humongous plays, right? And a 4-3 defense is essentially a 4-3 defense. I mean, it's not like you're putting extra players on the field or anything. You're just giving them different assignments. You're having people in motion, so you have to cover a little bit differently. But it's still
Hmm.
defense, right? Um, so again, I'm excited for that whole different flavor that is going to kind of challenge things. And then the reason why I asked about, who kind of had the advantage is because we've talked to a couple of the syndicate players and a couple of other players. Syndicate happens to have the former Corpus Christi Tritons quarterback,
Hmm.
Jeremy Hunt, great kid, awesome energy, very, very exciting player. He's used to the pace of, the arena game. But I wonder, obviously, he got a start in regular football like the rest of us did. Um, but his most recent experience is with that arena. And so I was trying to figure out how a player would make that shift and ultimately kind of who would have the better advantage. Um, the pace is fast, yes, but you've got completely different rules and different, routes that people are going to be running and stuff like that. So I do kind of agree with you. I do think the quarterback such as yourself that does have the experience with those rules will probably have a little bit of an edge. So um, one question I wanted to ask earlier, and it got away from me, so I want to make sure I ask this before we have to end the interview here. What is your playing style? Are you a run and gun kind of quarterback? You an Iron Man quarterback? Like I'm not expecting to see Brett Favre from you, am I? Where you throw 300 touchdowns, but you throw 200 picks also. Like what can we expect to see from you out on the field there?
Yeah. So if I flip that question around, as a player and as I go about like training, I never wanted my coach to say, that's I'd love to do that, but that's not really Will's game. And so I truly don't believe there's anything that I can't do. So if you ask me to stick my nose in there and hey, we're gonna run quarterback ISO because it's 4th and 1 and we gotta have it. Let's go, big dog. Come on. If you need me to throw a field side comeback and you yeah, you need a quarterback that has an arm, I'm good for it. If you need to call a sprint out play to the left, or I got to scramble and create and extend and run, I'm good for all of it. If you need a guy to read a defense and go 1 to 2 to 3 and drive over the middle and then take one in the chin, I'm good for it. You need to get the ball out of your hands quick and throw screens and plug holes, and I'm good for it. And so that's kind of the way that I've always tried to build my game is that there's not something that I
Okay.
don't do, and there's not something that I couldn't bring to the table as a football player.
So I really like that answer, and I'll tell you why. Probably the most dangerous player is one that is not predictable, right? Especially when it comes to a quarterback. You have a guy like Aaron Rodgers, you know what he's going to do, right? It's a whole different conversation on what you need to do to stop him, but you know what he's going to do. You know what he's
Hmm.
looking for. It's just a matter of, do you have the skill set to be able to time it well enough to break up that 35-yard play that he's going to put right on the button in
Yep.
front of the receiver? Can you stop that, right? But that's a whole different thing. Again, you know what he's going to do, so it makes a defense's job a little bit easier to kind of prepare for that, watching film the week before, whatever. What you're talking about is a guy who's an all-around versatile player, which you are. I mean, I've seen some of your highlights. That is going to be harder, I think, for a defense to prepare for because they don't know what they're going to expect this game. Yeah, they know what you did last game, but that game was last game. What are they going to do
Right.
against us this week? Right. So that's why I'm really excited for that answer. Now, again, before we run out of time, I make sure get this question in from our guy Weston Cole, right? Love Weston to death. What's your favorite style of football? You played in just about all of them. Do you have a favorite? And of the various styles, is there one that has a harder defense to read than all or
Yeah.
most?
So I don't know. I don't want to say we might not like the answer, but for different reasons, my favorite style of football is Canadian football, meaning the motions, it's, passing oriented. You can get really creative with all the motions. But the rules are make it really limited. Having 3 downs is really, really hard. I think 4 downs makes for a much more balanced, not so pressure filled style of football. There's such an urgency with 3 downs. It's incredibly hard. So I enjoy things about both, and that's why I'm so much looking forward to this game. Arena is fun, but not something I wouldn't want to do over and over and over again. So I think to answer your question, there's things I love about both. I think football in its purest form is the U.S. rules version. The Canadian's the most creative and probably the most fun because it's so versatile and wide open. But the beautiful thing is I don't have to choose. We can go do both.
Yeah, that's going to be really nice. So, couple more questions. This one I was going to save for the last, but as you can tell, I'm kind of antagonistic, and I like to stir up trouble. Um, who do you think of the teams that we have in the South here? Who do you think is going to be our biggest rivalry, and how badly are we going to beat them the 2 times that we play them this year?
Well, I know Austin would like to be rivals, but it's like, I don't know. It's like before the Yankees and the Red Sox before, 2000 whatever it was, 2008. It's like, are we really rivals? Like we're beating up on you guys. So I don't know, it'd be fun.
Hmm.
I mean, don't get me wrong, I want the smoke. Like, let's go. Week 1 at their house. And but I am impressed with what the teams in the East are doing with their roster, and
Oh,
I know we'll have
yeah.
some hard fought battles with Dallas and Tall City. But at the end of the day, excuse my frankness, I don't give a fuck what you're doing. I know we're getting prepared over here, and if we're doing our thing, I don't give a damn about you.
Nice, nice. I, I love that. And see, that's the thing that I was trying to let our guests know about when we met you at the Smoky Mo's event. You could just feel that energy, that cockiness. But again, the cocky humbleness, because you know that you're going to be victorious, but you also know the work and the effort and everything that you've got to put into it to make it happen. It's not just going to happen just because you said so, right? And I absolutely love that. As far as rivalries go, absolutely, I love. Oh, Coach Bedwell is on Insta. So hey, Coach, good to see you there. Syndicate is watching also, and of course they're watching, right? Because to be the best,
That's
you got
right.
to beat the best, right? Um, but from day one, and I have not had a chance to meet the owners of the.
Oh,
Oh, that was my fault. I apologize. There,
he's back.
it's my wonderful Google Fiber connection. It's great or it's horrible. There's no in between.
You
Uh,
should try Starlink, buddy.
oh, you're right. Um, there you go. Right? It's not cocky if you back it up, and don't mistake cockiness for confidence. Or I mean, confidence for cockiness. Um, And look, our friend Rick, and this is one I definitely want to talk about earlier. Uh, and they're right; they should get your jersey in the store because it's going to sell like hotcakes, man. And I'm pretty sure that should be revealed sometime in the somewhat near future. I don't want to say too much because I don't know too much, but uniform should be coming out soon. Anyways, um, I haven't met the other team owners yet, but I have met like Quincy with the syndicate. I've met Manny with the Iron Man and Coach Kelly and Coach Kaiser. We met with the Michigan Panthers, right? Um, we've let them all know that hey, we respect what you've done in your careers and everything like that, and nothing but love for you guys. But come game day, you're the enemy, and you're going to be catching all the smoke from guys like me and this guy right here.
Mhm.
So they come into San
Probably
Antonio, or even in their own house, they better be ready
the
because
two
we're going to
loudest
be in the
dudes in
stands.
Texas.
Oh yeah, we're going to be in the stands doing our part to help make it a home game for you guys, no matter where we are, so we can
Mhm.
walk out of there victorious. And
Yep.
and even with all the talent that all the teams have been signing, and there has been some incredible talent being signed,
Yep.
right? There is no denying that we've got some of the greatest players in this league, bar none. But nobody's going to have it all together like San Antonio is. So they better be ready. Is all I'm saying. So, um, Will, I don't want to keep you too much longer. But I guess the last question I have, um, you got a little bit of insight on this, being on the roster, being a player here and everything like that. What and you have to understand. I'll give you a real brief little nugget of San Antonio sports history. San Antonio has been kind of taken advantage of by several different sports organizations,
Yep.
right? The IFA is an example. The AAF is another example.
Mhm.
Um, we've had so many teams come in here,
Other league.
kind of, yeah, toy with our emotions. We've even had professional teams. The
Yikes.
the New Orleans Saints were supposed to come here at one point and we just got toyed with so they could build another stadium somewhere else. Why is this league going to be different? And why? I mean, you're writing your career on this, right? So your future kind of depends on this sticking around. Why should the fans believe in this league? And like, what would you say to the fans to let them know why they should believe in this league and why they should invest in it, whether it's
Yeah.
tickets or whatever?
Yeah. I mean, here's what I can say. I can only speak from my experience, and I can only speak for the team in which has given me an opportunity. And I hope that everyone else is doing it the way that we're doing it. But I know that our organization and the people inside of it are doing things the right way. They're doing it with the right intent. They're not thinking selfishly. They're not thinking short term. Even the mere fact of bringing these legacy teams back, honoring tradition and honoring what one once was, makes it more special and not gimmicky. Uh, that's got staying power. It's pretty cool to be a part of, and I can say our ownership has been A plus, first class, and we're not cutting corners. So in order to get an opportunity to be in on that, it's pretty cool. And you know, as a player, this is not about money for me. And if you have an opportunity to deliver, professional football to a community, it's a pretty damn special thing. So I hope the community can get behind it. It's ultimately all what you make it because you get a chance to be, owners, and the better you support it, the better ultimately you'll do as an owner, and you're going to get super quality football players that can only be ultimately cash in on it for you. So, um, you know, if there's an opportunity, the players will make good on it. It's ultimately up to the organization and the support that surround it. So you'll get guys like me that are willing to die for it out there, and that's why we love the sport.
Yep. Will, I couldn't have said that any better myself. It's important for everybody to know that the team, not just the coaches and the players moving here and being part of the community. The actual ownership group is part of the community. It's owned by people such as myself, and local people around. It's guys like us that are investing in the team that will keep it here. All we ask is that the fans that are on the fence come in and give it one game, just one game, right? Tickets are as cheap as like $10, $15, I believe. Not going to break the bank to come and check out one game. But I promise you, you buy a ticket, come check it out. Watch this guy play one game, and you're going to be sold. You're going to see that this is not just some amateur attempt to throw something together to try and make a quick buck and turn a profit and bail. These guys are in this for the long haul. Players like this are basically investing their entire career on this opportunity that most likely will lead to another opportunity, something bigger down the road. But they're taking a chance on this because they believe in this that much. They know this league is going to stick around. It's going to produce some massive fruit. Just got to help it out by taking the chance on it. So, anyways, I'll get off my soapbox now. But Will,
So
this is
I
probably a
got
good
one.
time to go ahead and shut it down. I know I said, we try and keep it at about an hour. But this has been a great conversation, and thankfully you've been willing to kind of take point and share with everybody here. So it makes it so much easier for a guy like me to just sit back and let you talk, right? But I want to give you an opportunity to go ahead and plug your socials, let everybody know where they can find you, where they can follow you, and kind of keep updated on your journey as you set the all-time passing record for single season for the first season with the San Antonio Toros, and then the second season, and then when you do make it to whatever the next level is, you'll at least speak kindly of us as you're sitting up there in your mansion with your millions of dollars and your servants washing your feet and all the other things that we're gonna have. I guess I don't know. I'm not rich. I wouldn't know.
Yeah, what I can say is we'll be ready, and that'll be top to bottom. And I'm really looking forward to this. This is, like I said, this has been a long time coming for me. This is really my first full opportunity to close the loop on it, and I'm not scared of nothing. There's not an opponent or an opportunity that's going to make me flinch, and I'll be prepared. And at the same time, I'm going to enjoy the shit out of it. It's going to be fun. I always joked I'll be playing football until I'm 40. I don't know what the future holds, but I'm sure shit, not going to, think that I have the opportunity of another year. So I'm going to leave it all out there on the field this year.
Aaron Rodgers, Brett Favre, Ben Roethlisberger, Philip Rivers. I mean, the list goes on and on, you know. So you could easily be one of those. But go ahead and plug your socials real quick. Where can people follow you? Insta, whatever.
Yep. So you can find me pretty much anywhere. Will Arndt, ARNDT. I think I'm on all of them. Hit me up, say what's up. I really enjoy interacting with you guys. If obviously if I see it, I'll definitely hit you back. As a professional athlete, I try to not spend too much time on social media, but I definitely am on it. So hit me up, and would love to connect with you guys. And one of the things I've learned over the last few years is you could be as cool as you want and do a lot of cool things, but if you don't get a chance to share it with anybody, it really don't mean anything.
So true. So true.
So I got
All right.
two things here, real quick,
Uh-oh.
before we get out of here. Two things. And they both go with the fourth quarter, the continental shift. Instead of calling out Mikes, instead of Mike, can we say moose on the loose, moose on the loose? It's up to
Moose
you.
52. I like that.
Moose on the loose. Yeah,
All right. You
And
want to
then
hear
instead
that?
of like hut or hike or go, it's hey. No, I'm just-
42. Hey. Yeah, no, that's good. I like that.
yeah,
I might throw that
yeah,
moose thing in. It might be
yeah.
just a good little reminder to guys, like,
We'll
hey,
be listening for it.
we're playing Canadian football now. I like that. It's a good
Yeah.
nod. Coach Bedwell, if you're still listening, I think we probably add that.
Yeah, coach, if you're on, make note of that. You could maybe throw in a boot or something like that, just to for a call off or something. Um, but gotta love those Canadians. I'm from Wisconsin, so I have a little bit of a fondness for our northern neighbors.
Sure.
So
Yeah.
Wisconsin.
yeah,
You're based. You're. I mean,
um,
you're like part Canadian.
I'm from the southern part of
Okay.
Wisconsin though, so not really. I'm
Yep.
like the abandoned neighborhood that Chicago didn't want, really. So it's
Right on.
it's not a fun place to be from. But Will, man, thank you so much. Like I hear you talking and I'm getting goosebumps and getting excited. Like I'm ready to throw the helmet on and go slam into somebody myself, right? And I'm just a crusty old fan. So I can't imagine how well you're going to lead that locker room. It is going to be we're going to have a pretty nasty team, man. And a lot of it starts with you. So
And some rowdy
thank you so much for
fans.
coming on. Um, I appreciate it. We're going to go ahead and kick you back into the green room. If you want to hang out for a couple seconds, we'll shut the show down. If you need to go, we completely understand, but we do.
Yeah.
Go
Yeah.
ahead.
I'll just say one more thing. It's as a competitor, and someone that has a lot of self belief and belief in the things that we're doing. It's all great and fine and dandy, but I know we got to go do it. And so I don't want to conflate any, self belief within our team and myself as that we're going to cheat any of the process. So we're gonna be putting our nose to the grindstone and know we're going to go earn it. So that's the last thing I want to say, and look forward to seeing all y'all at a game.
Let's go, baby. All right. We'll kick you back in the green room. Hang loose. Okay. Terrible Tim.
The man's
Crazy
confident.
Tim.
I like it.
So you're one of the latest converts to the COFL. Are you
Hmm.
excited?
Oh yeah, definitely, man. Come
Excellent.
around the end of
Well,
May, get the preseason going, get the blood flowing. June, we're gonna be
well,
full rolling.
I promise you, you're going to want to stick around because um, in the next couple of weeks, we're going to be having a lot more players on. We're going to be having a lot more coaches on. We're even going to have the ownership group on. So the ownership group themselves can talk about why this is going to be different this time, what they're doing to make this different, and their vision for the team and for the future of the team and the league. Those are the things you're not going to want to miss because I'm telling you, when you guys hear some of the things that I've been lucky enough to be a part of, you'll see why I'm so passionate about this and why I believe in it so much. So that being the case, um, oh yeah, nice. Tell the whiteout, take off, eh?
Moves on the loose,
Um,
eh?
good stuff. Anyways, all right. Well, folks, I appreciate you guys coming in. First of all, shout out to all of our friends at Texas Sports Media for all their help and their support. Guys, this link right here, this takes you to the Texas Talking Football merchandise store. We would certainly appreciate it if you would go and check out some of our merchandise, maybe buy a shirt or two. And you won't need a hoodie because it's going to be 1,000 degrees soon. But maybe for the wintertime, right? But we will be updating the merchandise store very, very soon because obviously we have a new logo and then we've got a new team and some really cool stuff with all that. But anyways, that being the case, uh, you know, check out our merchandise. Texas Sports Productions, thank you guys so much for everything you do. Alternative Football Network, thank you guys for all the support. And of course, our friends over at
IT.
Pro Arena Talk for all their arena stuff because there is arena going on this weekend. And I believe old FAJ is going to be at the San Antonio Gunslingers game. And then, of course, X Fan Show, Spurge and A Train. Appreciate all you guys
What is
for everything you
that?
did. Oh, somebody scanned the code. Thank you guys.
Was that
Appreciate it.
Gunslingers game Sunday? Saturday?
That Gunslingers game is Saturday, sir.
Ooh, I'm gonna
And
message you.
yeah, it'll be at 4 p.m.
Wifey's working that day, so
Oh, well,
might
maybe,
be worth the trip to the 210.
might be. But, anyways, guys, again, and Tim, thank you for popping in. Much
Yeah,
appreciated.
absolutely. Thank you for having me, man.
Oh, always, man. But this is really important because this is episode 150. We just talked about it last night. This is our 150th episode. Over 3 years of content, all coming from the passion and dream of two guys who just love to talk about football, man. So
And since BD can't be here to say it, I'll say it. Suck it, other guys.
there you go, baby. Love it. Guys, we will catch you soon. We'll definitely be on Tuesday night. We may be on some other nights, right, as guests are available, but we'll see you then. Until then, we'll see you guys. Vamos Toros, baby.